everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. If you're tuning in for the first time on this channel, I talk about jail, crime, and prison related topics. If you're new, man, hit that subscribe button, turn those post notifications on all, so every time I drop an episode, you'll be able to be notified and you can hear it first. So I bring people on that have been to prison to tell their experience, because everybody's experience is different. And today's guest is going to tell you his experience when he did 120 months in the federal prison system. So, man, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell the people watching what's your name and where you're from.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I see your channel's grown a lot. I think you just hit 10,000 subscribers. That's awesome. So appreciate giving me the opportunity to come on and speak. My name's Carlos. A lot of people in the system knew me as Carl, kind of went by that as the shortened version. Okay. I did 120 months in the feds, really learned a lot from it, and wish I would have seen something like your channel before I went in when I was doing the kind of things I was doing, because that might have actually changed my perspective and given me the realization that, yeah, I might not get away with this like I think I'm going to, and if I do, the consequences are going to be so severe that I need to look for a different route.
Because I'm the same way. If I would have watched some shit that when I was younger, I would have felt the same exact way. You know, I wouldn't have went down some paths that I went down. But what was life like for you, man, growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I actually had a pretty good upbringing. I mean, there was some turmoil. You know, my mom was a single mom most of the time. But I grew up in a small town, Vermillion, South Dakota. It's a college town. So, you know, I had support from friends and family and that kind of thing. But I just had I had a lot of anger problems when I was a kid from my parents being split up. My mom was also a lesbian. She came out when I was about 5 years old. And at that point, there was a lot of conflict over that, especially being in a small town. It wasn't quite as acceptable as it is today. And I had a problem with it personally. I didn't agree with her lifestyle at that point until I got a little bit older and started, to have a more open mind towards that kind of thing. So, growing up in school, there's just constant conflict. People try to pick on you a little bit for that. And so, I learned to fight when I was young. I started boxing from a young age, fell into that crowd. And that kind of became my identity. I was just rooted in sports and athletics. And that was really the only reason I did halfway decent in school. I had a really negative attitude towards authority. I didn't like people telling me what to do. I listened to my grandparents, and that was pretty much it.
Did the anger is what led you into to do the crime that sent you to prison? Or like, how did all that, go from being the athlete to, all right, man, now I'm doing shit, it's going to end me up in federal prison? Like, where was that turnout?
Yeah, well, anger was the start of it, because when I was pretty successful at boxing. I went to 2 national tournaments, won state a couple times, but I actually, I got in a fight with one of my friends my freshman year in high school. And that was the first time I got arrested right in school. So that's not a very good introduction to high school when you're getting arrested, your first couple weeks and you're getting hauled out in cuffs. I ended up, I broke his jaw. Yeah. I broke my hand. It was a nightmare. So I couldn't play. I couldn't box. I was suspended from the team. I couldn't play football because I hurt my hand for a little while. Ended up having a shoulder injury after that when I did get back into sports. So I kind of lost that sports identity, and that led me into, I think I've done a lot of reflecting. It led me to trying to find some kind of way to get recognition and to feel, like I was somebody, and having an identity. So I was really focused on making a lot of money, in high school, trying to find ways to hustle, trying to find ways. And I worked a lot too. I worked legitimate jobs, but, as the economy started to decline, I got in a position where, the kind of money I was making wasn't going to support my lifestyle. I'm not going to be able to run around with $800-900 car payment, having a house and spending money like it's going out of style, with the kind of thing I was doing. So then my car ended up breaking down twice. That's a whole long story. Ended up having to put, about $16,000-17,000 into that. So
what was the crime that led you to prison?
Armed bank robbery was I robbed a bank in 2010 in a little town called Fordyce, Nebraska.
How did that go down? Like, how did you go, damn, bro, from just beating some kids up in school to now, like how did the planning go for it? Did you plan, or I would have been so meticulous. That's why I'm asking.
No, and I absolutely was. I did a lot of research. One of the first things that I did is, my car broke down for the second time. The first time I had the money, I paid $8,000 out of pocket for the motor. The second time my car broke down, my friend actually drove it into a flooded road and wrecked it. So I had to come up with the money. I'm thinking all right, how am I going to come up with another $8,000-9,000? I don't got that money just sitting around. I need it quick. I don't have a vehicle. I'm paying money for it. So I've started research. I was like, all right, well, let's rob a bank. I should be smart enough to get away with it. I'll hit one of these little towns. I did the research, got on Google Maps, and then I found out how the die packs worked. I figured that was one of the main things that could foil me would be a die pack. So I found out those work on RFID. That's an RFID signal that goes out, kind of like the tags in Walmart when you go through.
So once you get a certain mileage away from the bank, it booms?
Yep, absolutely. They don't want it to detonate in the store because if you got a gun, you might retaliate on the employees for putting the dye pack in there. So as you walk out the doors or you get a certain away from the tower, that triggers the dye pack and that's what goes off. But it works off an RFID signal. So I got online on some backwater website on the Tor network and bought a RFID jammer from China. And then I bought a cell phone jammer so that they couldn't trace my cell phone or my car or anything like that, which is a GPS jammer.
Damn, bro. So
Yeah.
you were planning then, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I stole a car. I found a abandoned property that was not abandoned. I guess it was up for sale. It's a pretty nice house that was up for sale. Broke into the garage, parked my car in that garage, then went and stole a car. So I drove to the bank in the stolen car, robbed the bank, took the vault, got the money, came back and swapped vehicles. So as I pull out of the garage, the stolen car is in the garage. I'm in a different vehicle when they're looking for me. But I had stacked 924Cs. As it was, thankfully, I only got hit with one. And they didn't know about that first robbery that I did when I first got arrested in the Fed. It's been more than 7 years now. I don't got to worry about it anymore. But they caught me for the second robbery that I did, which was about 4 months later.
All right. So you did a robbery. That was in Nebraska, the bank robbery.
Yeah, then the first one was in Nebraska.
All right. You didn't get caught for that. Then you go and hit another bank.
Yeah, the first one, that's just the kind of lifestyle I was living, spending so much money, being irresponsible. Yeah. I got $19,000 from the first one, which is probably not as much as you'd expect, but this is a small town bank.
No, that's a decent amount. That's a good lick, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, it was gone in a couple months just with what I was doing. I don't even have any serious drug problems or nothing like that. This is just going out, buying stuff, driving around. I paid off some bills, and I didn't even pay for the motor in the car. That's how crazy I was. So my car still broke down. I still didn't put up the $7,000 for the car. I thought it was going to be covered under warranty. It wasn't covered under warranty, all kinds of stuff. But
all right, man. So you do the second robbery. What happens with that one? Like, how did that same shit? You did the same type of bank robbery?
Yep, essentially the same. I chose the town Lawton, Iowa, which is just outside of Sioux City, where my dad lives and where I kind of grew up around. And it seemed like a pretty good target for me. And I really didn't want to do another one because it was so nerve-wracking the first time. You don't just go in there gun-ho thinking, it's going to be no big deal. You're dealing with the serious consequences. And I thought if I get caught for this, they're probably going to give me 20 years. I didn't know what the consequences were. I didn't know about the feds or how much time it was going to be. So I was nervous. I didn't want to do it. So, I started cutting corners as I got into that one. My car was a little bit further away, which would end up being a big problem for me because the first one, the car was only, my swap vehicle was only about a mile down the road. This time I couldn't find a place to put it that was any closer. So I had my swap vehicle about 6 or 7 miles away. And that's what I went with. So my car in this apartment building parking lot, which is right off the highway, was about 6 miles away from the bank. Stole a vehicle, got into that vehicle, went there. I'd been scouting the bank for a couple weeks. So I knew there was one lady who was going to open the bank. And she's going to be by herself. That's how they'd been doing it. Oh, it's only one lady. I'm thinking, all right, well, that's easy enough. Last time I was dealing with 5 people in this bank. Dude tried running away when I was in Nebraska and all kinds of stuff. The first one I did. So I'm thinking, all right, one lady, this won't be such a big deal. So I confront her while she's in the parking lot. As she's going up to turn off the overnight alarm, I come up behind her with my gun pointed at her, and probably one of my mistakes is that I called her ma'am. I was like, all right, ma'am, just open the door. Don't cause any problems. I don't want to have to do nothing to you, but I will. And I don't know if she panicked or if she called my bluff and knew I wasn't going to do nothing because she hit the distress code on the alarm.
Why did ma'am, though, set that off?
I don't know if it was necessarily a factor, but I don't think it helped my cause when you're trying to intimidate somebody. It's probably not a good idea.
Can you please open the bank door?
Yeah, I mean, she's an old lady. I'm not trying to run around robbing old ladies kind of thing. So
yeah,
I was hoping it was going to be a younger person who I had seen before. I wasn't sure which one of the people were going to show up. It's hard to rob an old lady and not have some kind of feelings of regret while you're doing it.
You're bringing her into the bank. She hits the distress alarm. Then what happens?
Yeah, well, now it's going through my head. Like, this is not something you planned for the worst case scenario, but I was at least expecting to get to the bank. I didn't think she would hit the distress code. And it was the audible one. So it's going off. The alarm's buzzing. So I'm thinking, all right, I got to turn this alarm off and try to get her to convince the cops that nothing's going on.
Did you think just to run at that point?
I did, but I didn't want to have a situation where she could follow me or see where my car was. Because I knew that I had this 6 or 7 miles to go. So I was hoping she wouldn't see my car. This bank was right behind a storage shed. There's a detail I left out. So I had my stolen vehicle parked in the storage shed so she couldn't see the car I was in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I at least wanted to get her inside. And I knew it started going through my head like, all right, I'm not going to have time to rob this place. Even if she tries to convince the cops something's happening, they're coming. So I need to get out of here. So as she's on the phone trying to tell them what's going on, somebody's pulling into the drive-thru and I'm getting ready to make my escape. I just want her to be distracted enough not to come outside and see me as I pull away. Somebody pulls into the drive-thru and sees me standing there. I'm masked up. I've got a wig on, all kinds of
Probably
fake
like,
stuff.
what?
Yeah, I got a gun on. I got stuff hanging off me. My RFID jammers hanging, GPS. It's got to be out so they can kind of see the antennas. So if somebody sees me, they're gonna know I'm up to no good. I got a backpack on. That car's in the drive-through. I take off the back door, just hoping he's gonna be talking to her, and I'm gonna be able to get out of there. But as I pull out, the person I find out later, through the police reports, that she's asking him what car is he in, what car is he in. She's trying to identify where I'm going now that I left. Now that the threat's over, she wants obviously to get some kind of make sure it doesn't, there's consequences for me.
You were fucking worried, weren't you? When all that was like, when you got in that car and started driving, I can't imagine what would have been going through my head.
Yeah, well, I wasn't thinking very clearly. I would have at least, threw the gun out or that kind of thing. Because now I'm in a situation where I could end up getting killed by the cops. It's a
Right.
miracle the cops didn't shoot me. Because as I come through, I'm thinking, all right, well, there's really nowhere to ditch the car. I'm out in the country. If I leave the car, I'm just going to be walking. Even if I had to change of clothes, but it's going to look suspicious.
Yeah, for sure.
I still might have had a better chance of getting away, but that's all hindsight. What I ended up doing is thinking, all right, I'm going to get back. The cops aren't going to respond fast enough. So I'm about a block away from the apartment building where my stolen vehicle, where my actual vehicle is. I'm going to have to swap cars back into my vehicle. And I look in the rearview mirror and there's a sheriff behind me. So at that point, I know he's coming after me. I take that right turn heading into that apartment building, and he takes the right turn with me.
So
I know,
did you just pulled over and said, fuck it, man, it's me?
No.
No, you all right. So
I don't know if I watched too many movies or what went through my mind, but I'm thinking I'm getting away. I got to find a way to get away. And I don't have a very fast car that I'm in. The stolen car was like a 92 Oldsmobile.
Yeah, you dead, bro.
I'm not outrunning this guy, but I'm thinking somehow I can lose him in traffic. And I don't know what, you don't really think about logically because there's no way I'm getting away. All I'm going to do at this point is make it worse for myself. But my mentality was this is all or nothing. I'm not going to prison for, life on this. So I head into a Burger King parking lot and speed off real fast and cross lanes and try to get away from him. So I kind of lose that cop, but there's more of them coming. At this point, the cops are basically surrounding me. They had the whole force after me. So I'm speeding away. I'm in the wrong lane on top of that because I wasn't really familiar with this area. So when I pull into the lane, I'm actually driving head on with traffic. I had to dodge a couple cars and I'm trying to jump over the median because I don't want to go head on with somebody and end up getting caught up or end up, killing somebody and making this even worse for myself. And as I'm trying to get over the median, a cop is coming over the pathway. So he's trying to spin around and get behind me and he actually runs head on into me. So I get in a head-on collision. Yeah, the highway patrol vehicle or the cop, whoever it was.
Not good, bro.
No, not good at all. So I get bounced back. I'm jarred, and I'm thinking these guys are going to shoot me as they run up to this car. You know what I mean? Because I'm getting surrounded by cops. They all got their guns out. It was called in as an armed robbery. I had two guns. I had two handguns on me. I don't know why I brought a backup.
Damn, bro.
But yeah, I mean, I had two guns, fully loaded. In case that I didn't have anything in the chamber, but I always thought if there's a situation where they don't think the gun's real, I'm going to drop the clip and show them, hey, it's loaded. I'm willing to use it.
Right.
Even though I wasn't willing to use it, I'm not going to go in there and kill anybody and, end up on the death row or nothing. So.
All right, man. So obviously you got arrested. You get brought into a facility, and do they start questioning you right away? Like, how did all that process go down?
Yeah, well, thank God they actually just got arrested because here I am in the car with my hands up, trying to, don't shoot me, please don't kill me. But they don't know whether I'm going to pull a gun or what they're going to do. So if it was this day and age with everything going on, I think the cops would have shot me. Back then, there wasn't quite as much tension. I don't think the police were under quite as much stress or, that kind of thing. Thank God they didn't end up killing me. So they pulled me out of the car, find all these guns on me, knives, jammers, all kinds of stuff. So they start questioning me immediately. And I'm just asking, like, hey, is the cop all right? I want to know, like, did I hurt this guy? What's going to be the consequences? Everything okay? And that just kind of runs through your head. I didn't have the best opinion of police at that point in my life, but still, they're just doing their job. They're coming to catch me. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
were they like being extra with you, like as far as like force and like yoking you out of the car and shit?
Yeah, they were at first until I ended up in the squad vehicle. At that point, I think they're just trying to get a confession, so they're treating you a little nice, trying to tell you, oh, yeah, it's all going to go better, if you just tell us what's going on.
And obviously from talking to you, man, like you're not an idiot, so when they talk to you, they're going to be like, okay, this dude's not crazy. He just did some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they're being nice and questioning you about shit, like, did you immediately confess or like what happened with that?
No, I didn't immediately confess. I knew that anything I say is probably not going to help me, but thankfully I'd been in trouble before. Had I not been in trouble before, just the raw emotion and all the things you're dealing with, probably would result in that because they're telling you just want to say, yeah, I messed up. I was like, well, I'm in trouble, so we'll see what happens from it. But,
Yeah.
it's all going to come out eventually. So then they tried interviewing me again when I was in the jail. The jail I go to, Woodbury County in Iowa, is, it's pretty much, I'd never been actually in a jail before. I did a little bit of time in juvie, but as an adult, I'd only done some overnights. I'd never been in population or nothing. So that was all a whole new experience. And going through the feds was.
How long did you stay in county jail fighting the case?
Quite a while, because they didn't know. Remember, at this time, they didn't know about the first bank that I robbed in Nebraska. So once they caught me for this one, they started trying to tie those two together.
Things in common, like with the robberies?
Exactly. I think the original employees, seen that I had the jammers, they knew that I had some kind of devices on me that were other than just a weapon, because they could see my RFID jammer, my GPS jammer. And the MO was the same. I stole both the cars around, the same general area. Those places are about 45 minutes from each other. And a bank robbery, aren't stolen cars, that kind of thing doesn't happen that much. It's not like a super high crime area. So they had a pretty good idea that it was me, but I wasn't going to admit to it. And I didn't think they had any evidence. And I was also very concerned they were going to stack the 924Cs on me, because I had a really good public defender, which was a miracle too. You hear a lot of bad things about public defenders, but he told me straight up, like, hey, listen, if you got something else, if you got something going on, we need to try to get ran together, because they stack these on you, you're going to get 25 years mandatory plus the 7. So I was going to end up a 30+ year sentence.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, so we drug it out as long as we could. It also helped because I was 23, and there's a good chance I'm going to go to the pen. I'm an armed bank robber.
There's probably a good chance.
And I didn't, actually, because we drug it out long enough. I turned 25. We ended up pleading guilty to the bank robbery that I did before, and then only the one gun charge. So I had 2 bank robberies, stolen car, 1 gun charge. And so the judge, actually, when I went through, I did my allocution, I had a chance to talk to Judge Bennett in Iowa, and I just leveled with him, like, hey, I recognize that this is my fault. I took responsibility for it. I wasn't trying to blame everything else that was going on in my life. And I told him, I got a lot of remorse. I think about that kind of stuff and the things people got to live with when you hold them up at gunpoint. That's a scary experience. These are just regular citizens. They're not used to being in those kind of situations.
So did he spare you?
How much time he gave me the bottom end of what he could. He gave me 120 months, when my guideline range was quite a bit, was about 13 to 15, because I had no criminal record too, which helped me. I had the one simple assault and a DUI that was dropped down to a reckless. So, well,
what was it like, man, for you, being in county jail for the time you were fighting the case? Because I know you said you never really did. It's different to do like 4 or 5 days in jail than it is to do, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So, like, how was that process for you? Like, getting, at that point, you're getting used to doing time. Yeah. So, like, how did that go? I don't know how it is in where you were in Iowa, but is there a lot of tension in the jail, or is it pretty smooth?
Yeah, it's hit or miss. I mean, there can be, like, the very first day, I didn't realize I was supposed to hop right up and grab my food. So somebody took my food the very first day that I was in county. So right away, I'm thinking I'm already going to get in trouble. And my mentality is I do not want to get in a fight, because I got to go before this judge. And my behavior while I'm in county is going to give him a better indication of whether I'm trying to turn things around or whether I'm still being an idiot. So thankfully, I had the presence of mind to realize that. So that helped keep me out of a lot of conflict. I ended up in a couple confrontations when I was in county during that 2 years. It's a long time to do time. And we have no rec. You barely get anything for commissary. That county jail doesn't even give you underwear. You go in there, all you get is a jumpsuit and a pair of sandals. No underwear, no socks, nothing.
Wow, bro. That's you can't buy underwear on Canteen if you got money.
People got to bring you stuff.
Yeah. Damn, bro. I ain't never heard that. I've talked to a lot of people that have been to jail. I've not heard the no underwear thing.
Yeah. Woodbury County. If you ever go there, remember.
All right. So he's definitely done some time in the federal prison system. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring him back on the channel. We're going to do part 2, and he's going to explain exactly what it was like for him going to federal prison for 120 months. Like I said in the beginning, man, go ahead and turn on those post notifications on all. So every time I drop an episode, you can hear it first. Man, I just want to thank you for coming on the channel, and looking forward to running part 2 with you, bro.
Absolutely. That's some crazy times to tell. So it was a hell of a ride.
And with that, it's DOC TV, and we're out.